Welcome everybody to this week's market analysis class, Monday the 31st of July. Before we get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay, let's move along and let's have a look at what's happening this week. We'll have a brief chat about last week. Now, last week was what we would call a terrible week for the US dollar. It pretty much got beat up by everybody. Aussie dollar made multi-year highs, Kiwi dollar multi-year highs, the euro multi-year highs, and pretty much everybody had its own way with the US dollar. Of course, it was a string of bad data. The minutes that were presented from the Fed were pretty much what the market was expecting, and it wasn't really enough to sort of I guess a change in momentum, so to speak. There's been a couple of critical points in the charts. Where we get to them, I will highlight them for you. Whether it's mainly the activity of profit taking that has driven the market in the other direction, but not because of any strength from the US dollar at this particular point. Now, this is the first week of the month. Traditionally, or normally, every first week of the month is jam-packed with news. This week is no different. Now, today is a quiet day, the Monday. We got nothing really in store for us today, but we do have a whole heap of news that is due this week. Let me take you through it, the highlights, things that may happen. If you do have questions, feel free to ask them as we go along, and I'll do my best to try to answer those for you. Okay, so if we kick it off and let's focus on our own Aussie dollar to start off with. Well, the first Tuesday of the month is the day that we get an RBA rate statement. Will we increase rates? Will we not increase rates? And the statement to sort of indicate sort of where we are. Everybody knows, well, it's no secret really, that the RBA does not like our Aussie dollar to be so high. It doesn't help us as a nation, as a commodity producing nation, if our currency is too strong, and couple that up with the fact that we are so far away from the rest of the world. It's not economically viable for other nations to come and purchase our commodities. Okay, so we ideally prefer a weaker dollar. I think part of the property boom that's been happening, which really has to be said, it's only more restricted to Sydney and Melbourne, because other areas, particularly Perth, Brisbane, and other regions throughout the country are not experiencing the same growth, and in fact some of them are neutral or even slightly negative growth in terms of property. So it's not just a straight out question about property and mortgages and interest rates, as it seems. It's a much more complex equation than that. So we always look forward to seeing what the RBA will say on the first Tuesday of the month. Now, nobody is really anticipating a rate movement. You never know, they could surprise, but at this stage it doesn't appear to be the case. So we're more really interested or concerned with what statement accompanies whatever their decision is. So that's tomorrow at 2:30. Okay, so bookmark your calendar for that one tomorrow. Thursday we have trade balance numbers, and then towards the end of the week we have retail sales, as well as the monetary policy statement, should they want to add anything as to the direction of sort of where we're going over the next quarter, so to speak. So that's Aussie dollar. Focus now on the sterling and on the pound. We have a whole bunch of news from the UK, manufacturing numbers tomorrow, and Wednesday we have the construction construction PMI numbers, and then on Thursday we have their official bank rate decision. So will the UK increase rates? They have been talking about it. If you recall last time, they didn't increase the rates, but the vote, whether from the officials that make the decision to increase or not increase, it was the first time in a long time that it had got so close on the vote, and consequently we saw the GBPUSD jump about 100 pips just purely based on the fact that the officials making the decision were not unanimous. So the vote becomes important. Okay, so, and of course the monetary policy summary or the statement. So look out for that, as well as we also have the services PMI and the inflation report. So all that on Thursday. So Thursday looks to be a really filled day if you're a pound trader. Look out for that one. Then, of course, we have the US starting the week on Wednesday with manufacturing PMI. Then we have the private sector employment change on Wednesday, and Thursday the unemployment claims, private sector, and then the big one. The big one is on Friday, which is non-farm payroll. So we're seeing the unemployment rate, the number of jobs, and the average hourly earnings. Now, considering the very large amount of data that has recently come out of the US, and the fact that it has not been very positive. Non-farm payroll this month plays a significant role. Okay, now there are many currencies that are at extremely overbought positions at critical levels, so it would make, I guess, from a technical point of view, should all the US non-farm payroll data come out strong, you would see reversals in those charts and playing out technically a very nice picture. Okay, now can that happen? Yes, it can, but at the moment we need to trade what we see. So I think for the US dollar to make a recovery, we really need to post that 183,000 jobs. We need to be on that mark. The unemployment rate needs to drop a little bit, and average earnings as well. So if we get a combination of the three all pro US dollar, well then we can see a recovery and perhaps a change in mood in the market, and all these extremely overbought currencies like the Aussie dollar and the Kiwi specifically, also the euro a little bit, we could see turnarounds on those. Okay, so keep an eye out on that, but the big one, non-farm payroll, is Friday 10:30 p.m. These are all my local times, so which is in Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I think this week, because of the nature of data that is coming out and everything that is happening, the currency that's probably going to be the most volatile due to data is going to be the cable, which is the GBPUSD. Okay, so there you have it. That is what's in store for us. Just take note and let's begin. Can I just get a quick confirmation that you guys can hear me? One person saying they cannot hear me. Yes, fantastic. I'm not talking to myself. All right, here we go. Before I get started into my charts, let's give you a quick update on the trading challenge. We triggered, I think, 3 trades last week. This is the result so far. Okay, I got stopped out on a Kiwi US dollar trade, this one here that I'm highlighting. And currently right now, based on the method where I'm just trading a straight out 2-to-1, I have 2 open positions on the euro yen and the pound USD, and my current result based on, and this number doesn't include these 2 open positions because we don't know what the result is there. I'm at plus 750 on that $5,000 account balance. Okay, so that's method 2-to-1, and surprisingly, method where I close out half the position at T1, move my stop to break even, and then wait for the second target. This is out of every single time that I've done a trading challenge. This is the first time that method 2 is performing better than method 1, and probably because we're more in a trend market than anything else. And with this method, I have 1 open position, so I've already locked in 125 on that GBP USD, and I've got open position waiting for second target, and the current balance based on this method is 1250. Okay, so there you have it. That's an update that includes every single trade. There's 3 trades to go. Hoping that we can trigger some trades now and finish it up for this particular trading challenge. Alright, let me bring my charts forward. We'll start off with the Aussie dollar. Guys, as always, just if you do have a question, just type it in as you think of it, and I will try and squeeze it in and make it fit into whatever we are talking about. Okay, Aussie dollar. Last week, when we were looking at the Aussie dollar, I spoke to you about a situation that we could find ourselves in where most of the market was short in this direction, and we were coming up to this 80 level, and I said and I explained how, of course, this market's been pushing for a long time in one direction, so it would be normal to see that there would be a lot of stops building up into this region. So what happened? We did see that squeeze. The market pushed up. Well, initially the first push pushed to about there and then just drove straight back down, which was that phenomenon that I was trying to explain. We saw it played out really, really well. I don't know if anybody attempted to trade that or not. This would have been just a straight out psychological trade. It's based on no particular candle patterns. It's not based on price action. It's based on just the pure facts that most of the market was in one direction, and you could just see that they were going to get stopped out, which would drive the market through, and then basically the correction would come in and just shoot straight back down, which is exactly what happened. So it's gone through to that. I believe we touched 80, 70 something, or what's the high here? Give me 1 second. 80.65 is the high that we've touched. Look, at the moment, this particular chart is just saying nothing, because if non-farm payroll comes in really bad and we get some of this Australian data to come in strong, this could just continue on, shoot through into the 81s, and that's it. We're just basically saying, moving away from the 80, and it just continue more of the same. Now, the alternative thing that could happen is non-farm comes in strong, okay, and then basically we see the rejection, and then from a technical point of view, this is what I was trying to explain a little bit earlier. From a technical point of view, it looks like a very well positioned technical sell-off. All right, so right now, based on this chart, there's lots of things that are happening psychologically, but in terms of visually of what I can physically trade here, I can't trade anything. The best thing that I could possibly see here is allow it to pull back a little bit, look for some price action there, and then shoot it up and just continue with the trend. Okay, now it's very, very important. In other times when I've done these trading challenges, I don't think I've done one where I've been inside a trend for such a long time. And the positive thing is that the numbers are still coming out positive, which I'm very, very happy about that. But let me just show you something. Are there anybody in the room that trades the T-Chaser? Can I just get a show of hands if anybody trades a T-Chaser? Okay, yeah, I've got Rav. Anybody else? Simon? Look, let me just show you something. This is the same chart. I'm just going to change my template. Okay, so I'm just changing my template to my T-Chaser template. And I just want to, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So it's still the same chart. All I've done is just change my template. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And let's look at a couple of things. If you're a T-Chaser trader, you would have picked up this trade. Let me just see which candle to be precise. Okay, it's this candle over here. I've got it. Let me just get rid of this line now. You would have picked up this candle here meets the criteria, okay, which means you would have entered your trade right there in this direction. Your original stop was there, then moved to there, then moved to there, then moved to there, then moved to there, and basically you're still in this trade right now up to there, which is roughly 440 odd pips. Okay, if you're trading T-Chaser, you're up about 440 pips on this one trade. Okay, so sometimes, like when you hit the trends, you really get nice opportunities to take advantage and make the most of them. Now, while I'm there, since we're doing price action, this one here could have been a trade right there, price action to continue in this direction. Over here, I didn't get an entry. There was a setup there, didn't get an entry. And over here in these regions here, I haven't been able to get an entry where to continue it forward. Okay, so even though we're trying a different method, sometimes we can still take advantage and still cash in on it. But sometimes the simplicity and the T-Chaser is one of those methods that is so simple. It can give us really good rewards. Okay, all right, let me go back to my normal template. Okay, so this week Aussie dollar, look there, I can't really do anything other than I can wait, look for the setup, and then shoot up. There's nothing else that I can do here. Unfortunately, it's not as glamorous as it looks. Let me just have a quick look to see. I've taken out all the levels. No, that's it. Aussie dollar, nothing more to be said. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the euro. Okay, again, look at this. Since from this movement, the euro's been on a 1,100 pip run. It's just relentless. It just keeps on shooting and shooting forward. The only thing that I would be looking here is for a pullback, look for the entry, and then shoot forward. That's it. Now, if there's anybody new in the room, and I can see some faces, when I'm talking about a pullback, what I'm looking for is I'm specifically looking for a candle combination, ideally like an inside candle where this candle has the fractal, and then at the break of that candle, that's when I would trade upwards. So all this would be occurring roughly inside that circle somewhere. All right, so let me just see how we're doing for, I'm just going to look at historical highs. I'm just going into a weekly chart. See, and I can even see that this current high here has gone higher than that one there. So it's been this is the highest that we've been in a long time. So I'm in a weekly chart here, guys. So this is 2 years worth of data between these two circles. So we're into new territory, and just as you can see that it can quite easily make a run like this, it can quite easily make a run like that. So sometimes when we think, oh, it's gone far enough, I should sell it now, it's not a logical way to think, and it just does not make sense. Okay, let me see a couple of questions here. Should we wait for the 117.13 resistance from July 2015? Okay, so the question is, if I go back to the weekly so that we can see this level here, if I bring a line across, there's a line there. So should I wait for it to pull back there and then kick off again? Look, normally that method might be okay, Marcio, but this is too far away. Okay, so I don't see it as resistance, because we've already gone through it. So for it to really be resistance, we would have at least wanted to see it being resistive at least 2 times, and that's not the case. It's only been 1 time. This time it's just gone straight through. Okay, so there's no resistance. The only reason I looked back was just to see if there are any significant points that I might be interested in trying to take a trade. All right, so I wouldn't be trying to look for that level, but nevertheless, I feel that it is in trend. Does everybody agree that we are in trend on the Euro USD? What do we think, guys? Yes, we're in trend, or no, we're not in trend? Absolutely. It's unanimous. Okay. So if it's in trend, then what I'm actually looking for is I'm looking for these situations where the market comes back, and then I look at the candle sequence around the candle with a fractal. Okay. Go and have a look at price action trading in a trend video, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for this to come back down, give me a candle pattern sequence so that I can then have the opportunity to continue buying into it. Okay. At the moment, I'm not interested in selling at all. There's no, unless there was like I was inside a channel or some very heavy resistance levels, but that's not the case at all. I'm in no man's territory, so I'm only interested in one direction, or I stay away from it. All right. All right, so that's the Euro USD. So let's have a look at the pound US. Okay, I've got open trades on the pound US. You can still see my trade. A couple of things. 2 weeks ago, some of us traded the breakout candle right there. We took the trade straight away and immediately went into drawdown. Okay, now that trade has recovered, so you should be up on that trade. Not a lot, but you should be up on that trade. Okay, so that's the first step. Last week, I traded the pullback. Okay, let me just get rid of a couple of things on my chart. Just give me one moment because I think I may be confusing. So I'm not using these lines anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. So when I show you the chart the way that I'm showing it to you right now, it appears that it's not really a channel because this part here is not on. So I'm going to get rid of the channel as well. I don't think it's a channel. Yeah, I don't think it's a channel, but it feels like it's in trend. Okay, and last week we traded this one over here. Okay, did anybody take this trade with me? Can I just get a show of hands who traded this with me? Simon, Rav, well done. There's two Simons. Both of you, well done. Okay, so you guys would be pretty happy right now because there's my entry. You can see it. I think I took the trade live in the class, or at least I placed the pending order live. I don't remember, one of the two. And we've hit T1. So what I've done, my original stop was here. Based on the second method, what I've done is bumped it to that entry line. So that's my actual stop now. So that red line is my stop, which is also my entry level. Okay, and if I scrunch my chart a little bit, there's my second target. So this here is my 2-to-1 target. So I'm hoping that we bust through this, hit that little line there, and then my trade finishes, and then I'll worry about the next trade later. So as it stands right now, let's pretend if I had no trade in the in this at all, if I had 0 trades, let me see what I can find for us. Give me one moment. There's no resistance, which is good. I mean, it's good for us who are in the trade. Look, if I wasn't in a trade, what I would wait for is I would wait for a pullback again, and then try and hit it in this direction. Okay, so this week, given the nature of the amount of news that is going to come out, this trade I would be very, very surprised if next week this trade is still open, because I think either it's going to go and hit that target or it's going to come back and stop me out. Now, if I do get stopped out on my second half, how much will I make on my second half, guys? Let's see who's thinking, who's not thinking. How much will I make on my second half of my trade? I've got one answer, two answers. the second half of my trade will make me zero because it will be exiting at the same level where I entered. Okay, so but I have made profit. I've made target 1 on half of my trade, and since I was trading about 250, so I've made 125 on this so far. Okay, and that could be all, or it could be more. All right, so GBPUSD this week we're in a trade, so we'll just carry on with that. All right, let's move. Aha, I'm liking this. Okay, this is an opportunity for me to give you a little bit of a lesson on how to draw lines. Now I'm just going to start adjusting and show you the possibilities of why it's important to understand how to draw lines and how to be flexible in your line drawing. Okay, now I can draw it as far as something like this. Okay, and we can see that I'm far away from the line and I'm still satisfying this and this. Okay, generally I don't like to draw my lines on the very edges of wicks. Okay, like if I ignore the third point, if I just want to position my line on the first two, I'm comfortable at about here. Here I'm pretty comfortable, but I'm also comfortable about there as well. Alright, so what does this mean? Why am I telling you this? What this basically means, let me zoom in and we'll try and explain it. This means that I'm going to start to look for price action in this area. Okay, and if I have to, I will grab this line and adjust it so you can see I'm still meeting all the criterias so that I can actually make my trade work. Does this make sense to everybody? So let me draw you out of something that could possibly happen. Okay, let's pretend today's candle, let's try, today's candle ends up looking like this, and tomorrow's candle, I'm going to draw it in blue, is a little inside candle like that. Okay, so then what I can do is I can grab my line and see that everybody's happy. Alright, and then what that would basically mean is at the break of that candle I could attempt to trade it in this direction. Alright, so it's very, very important. Now it could also happen that today's candle finishes like it is right now, and tomorrow's candle just goes straight up like this, gives me an engulfing, oops, sorry, I just rubbed it out, gives me a body engulfing candle. Alright, and then what I can do is I can grab my line and I can still push it up there and it's still okay, and it would mean that I would still be alright to be able to take my trade tomorrow. So you have to be flexible in the way you draw your lines. Price action allows you a little bit of room for error. Okay, so we're trying to make it all fit in, and that the hardest part of, I think, trading or applying to trade price action in critical hot areas, as I like to call it, is the hardest part is identifying where that hot area is and how to adjust things so that it can fit in and for you to visually be able to see it. Okay? Question, should we consider the first two lower points? These ones there, is that the one that you're asking, Marcio? Yes, we should consider it, because if I don't consider these, okay, so let's say if I just draw the line off these two, is that a line, guys? Yes or no? Would that classify as a line, a proper trade line to trade off? Okay, so the ones that have been with me for a while have all answered straight away no. And the reason that it's a no is because right now it looks like a line, and if the market shoots up, then you can say yes, it was a line. But if I'm going to try and trade it right now, what happens if this just continues down? And then you go, well, why did I draw this line? It doesn't even make sense. Okay, so the only reason I'm happy about this level right now is because the first 2 points, point number 1 and point number 2, these are definitely locked in because the market has already kicked off from, it's bounced off that level. So therefore, this is the point. This is technically the first time I could attempt to trade it properly. Okay, hopefully that clears that up for you. So US yen, our game plan is we are going to look for price action on this line, and then we're going to attempt, hopefully we get a good setup, we're going to attempt to trade it in this direction. That's our game plan. So just be flexible in how you draw the line. Look for every combination. Look for shooting stars, engulfing candles, inside candles, and hopefully we can get something and we can trigger a trade off it. If I get one here, this is going to be a trading challenge trade. All right, this is the bread and butter type trade. It's the type of trades that you really look out for. And if you think about it, look how long it's taken to form this particular pattern. You know, like if we start from here, that's April this year. So it's taken like 4 months to basically do all this. So we want to take advantage of it. All right, let's move along. Let's have a look at the euro yen. Okay, the euro yen, we haven't really traded it for a while. Now, if I go to a weekly chart, the reasons why I haven't traded it for a while is because as soon as we cleared all this area over here, we're in kind of like there's no lines that I can draw, there's no resistance, there's no patterns, there's really nothing for me to try and bounce a trade off. So I'll go back into a daily. It would appear that it's coming into some kind of resistance now, and it may drift away. So what I would be interested in, if it does drift away, look, this is the pattern that I can see right now. This is just me looking at charts for a long time. I get the feeling that this may kick down here, kick along there, and then I'm hoping that we can get some kind of a channel happening in there. That's what I think is going to happen. We're still a bit far away from it, but I just get the feeling that that may be the case. At the moment, I can't do anything. I'm not doing anything, so I'm just walking away from it. Okay, and when that happens, just change to a different chart, and until you find something that you're comfortable with, and that just makes more sense. Kiwi dollar. Okay, let me just have a quick look. Kiwi dollar broke. We talked about multi-year highs. We broke that high, so it's been a long time since the Kiwi dollar's been this high. We've got to go back a couple of years for it. We are at a critical level in the sense that it's a 75 level. Let me get rid of this line now. It plays no part in my trade. I did try to trade this inside candle in this direction, and I got stopped out. That's life. That's the way it works. Unlucky. We move along. So let me get rid of the line. I don't need it anymore. And let's see if I can find something interesting. Okay, Kiwi dollar, got nothing for you guys. There's just absolutely nothing. The only thing that I can see here, just the same as everything else that's in trend at the moment, is come down, look for it, and then just shoot off. Okay, it's really the only thing that is available. Eventually this trend will break. I don't know when, and when it does, well then basically this type of trade will fail us. Hopefully we get the correct protection from it. Question: How much weight do you give the shooting star on the Kiwi dollar daily? Look, the shooting star pattern is really, I like the pattern. So I don't discriminate if it's on a Kiwi dollar or a different chart. Okay. So just so that everybody knows what the shooting star pattern looks like, it would be something like, let me draw it over here. You will get a candle that goes up. You'd get this kind of thing, and then the next candle, I'll draw it in a different color, that comes down. It's a 3 candle sequence. Your fractal will be on that one, and then this candle here will be closing at least beyond the 50% of the body of candle number 1. Okay, so and ideally what happens is the market comes from here, produces this pattern, and then shoots back down. So I like it. You just don't see it that often, and sometimes your eye it forgets to look for it. Okay, so hopefully I've answered that question. Miles is asking me about oil. I'm getting to oil. We're not there yet. Marcio says red candle can be a pin bar on the resistance level from May 15. Let me check. No, I think we went through it. I already checked May 15 level. See, this was the May 15. Hang on. No, we've gone through the levels. No, yeah, I can see the one that you're talking about. No, we've broken that one, Marcio. So no, this current pricing right here has gone through that. Okay, so that is no longer a possible resistance. All right. Okay, so Kiwi dollar, we're waiting for a pullback, and then we see if we can see some action. USCAD. Okay, USCAD. All right, so Friday night, and I spoke about this one on the daily call this morning. Canadian, I think it was GDP. We had some, I think it's GDP numbers. I can't remember exactly, but had strong data, and at the same time, US data was less than sort of what the market was expecting, and consequently, US CAD dropped about 100 points very, very quickly. That's that big red candle right there. The grey area that I've highlighted on my chart was the previous low, and again we've broken through it, so that does not come into play. And if I was going to try and trade off that level, price action prevented us, so which is kind of good, so it protected us from any trade there. At the moment right now, it's not interested in buying at all. I said that last week. I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks, and we've just been falling down. So the best I could look for, right now, technically this is a candle, inside candle setup. Let me zoom in. That is an inside candle setup to break and to shoot it down. I saw this one this morning when I was looking for a chart for the daily call. But I don't like it. It's only one candle rebound. I would prefer it to happen about here somewhere. So what I will hold off on is if it pulls back into this area and then I get the nice candle pattern, then I would be looking at possibly shorting and continuing the trend. Okay, so some of you may decide that you want to trade this one. It hasn't triggered anyway, so it may not trigger. I don't know, but at the moment, either way, it's for me. I'm gonna step away from this one, and it's not because of any fundamental feelings. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's just strictly the way that when I look at it, it just does not look right to me. So I will walk it. All right, there you go. US CAD. Gold. Let's have a look. Gold is swinging really, really nice. but we're not really getting anywhere. The first point of interest that I might get interested in will be, I'm thinking, over here. This might be the first time that I start to get interested in gold. Now remember, this trade over here would be what I call an aggressive trade, because if it comes to here and then just keeps on going straight through, well then the channel that I've just drawn, even though it looks pretty, would not be a legitimate channel. It's only a legitimate channel when the market turns around and comes off that level. Okay, so but I will look for it, and this would be the first possible time that I might get interested in this one. So let's see what happens. Okay, so there you go, gold. Finally, let's have a look at oil. Okay, oil. So we've been tracking this channel, and finally it's over. I cannot move these lines in any other combination. It has clearly broken out. So that's it. The channel is over. We did get an opportunity to take, we definitely took one trade. We missed the big one over here as well, but we got this one. So we got one trade out of the channel, which is still okay. This one is WTI right now, Miles. So I normally just look at WTI. They follow each other quite similarly, but either way, they've both broken the channel. So that means now I need to remove this and let me start to look for something else. Give me 1 second and let me see. I'm just going to just draw this line here for now. Now you got to remember, guys, when this comes to this level, that doesn't mean trade it straight away. Okay, so this wouldn't, even though it's a horizontal line, it's technically not like a proper double top, because for it to be a double top, all this stuff should be lower than that line. Okay, so it wouldn't even be that, but I'm just drawing the line just so that I'm starting to set up my charts for what might be coming next. At the moment, I don't want to take anything on this other than possibly, if it comes back, try to take that type of trade, but I'm not interested in that one either. So at the moment, on oil, I will do nothing other than I've drawn that line, so I'll start to monitor and set up my next trade. Okay guys, any questions, please type them in. Let me go back and summarize what's happened, and I will address those questions that you throw at me. Aussie dollar, we're waiting for a pullback and then possibly continuation. Euro USD, same story. GBP USD, we are currently in a trade. We're hoping it kicks on a little bit more so we hit our second target and we exit. US yen is probably the best chart this week. We are at a possible support line that we may have to move around a little bit, so we're starting to look for price action to see if we get a setup. Okay, Euro yen, nothing. Kiwi dollar, we possibly a pullback and then continuation of the trend. USCAD is nothing. Gold, we've drawn in what could possibly be a new channel, so let's see how it behaves as we approach that top line. And oil, we've just drawn in a flat level line at that around about that 51.30 mark, just to see what happens as we approach it. Okay, there you have it. That's our full analysis for the week. A couple of questions are coming up. Give me 1 moment. Do you normally look at silver? I can look at silver for you right now. Give me 1 moment. Okay, this line is good. Unfortunately, we didn't get a setup, so the line is good, but there's no setup over here. So right now, nothing on silver. The resistance line was good though. I liked it. Marcio, is this the only day that I do an analysis? Yeah, every Monday I'll do like a full 1 hour. Also, I give you the opportunity to bring in any question. It can be off topic. I'll answer it anyway. So I try to allocate an hour to for everybody to get access to me. So yes, I do, however, do the daily call, which is about a 3 to 5 minute video every morning, and it's available every morning. And you can watch it. And on that video, I talk about news that is happening, anything that's important that you should know about, and I try to find one chart every day of the best or the highest probability setup that I can find. Okay, so if you want to get that video, the easiest way to get it is follow me on Twitter, and my Twitter name is chatfx. Okay, so if you go on Twitter and search chatfx and then click follow, and you can even set up your phone to send you an alert every time I send a tweet, and you will receive that tweet as an SMS, so to speak. So if you give me 1 second, I can possibly show you what it looks like. So if I just go here and just go to Twitter, so there it is. So my name is ChatFX, and if you have a look, this video here, oops, wrong color. This is this morning, okay? So, and it's about a 3 minute video, and it contains, if you just click on it, you can actually just play it, and it'll actually contain the video. Let me just find that was today's chart. Okay, can I make this full screen here or not? I'm not sure if I can. I've got to play it. Okay, so there you have it. So that's one way that you can find it quite easily. Okay, so just follow me on ChatFX, and you'll get it. You'll receive it as a message. I produce it every single morning. Okay, so lots of trades, setups, go there. I usually, if it's a good setup, I take the trades on different accounts myself. And if any of the trading challenge trades that I've done, I've also posted there as I've taken them. So you're seeing the results live. So when I get stopped out, everybody sees that I get stopped out as well. Okay. Any other questions? No, we're done for this week. Let me have a quick look at a couple of things before I wrap up. I'll have a look at, let me have a look what the share market's doing. Let's have a look at the Australian index. Whoa, that looks quite horrible. Doesn't look good at all. I think that's very rangy, so I couldn't trade that. No good. Let me have a look at the DAX or the S&P 500. Let's look at S&P. Okay, this is a bit nicer. Very, very strong trends at the moment. You can see shares are shooting into real highs. That's a weekly chart. We're in like massive highs. And look, when typically, I guess from a US point of view, when the stock markets are doing really, really well, a lot of money moves away from cash and moves towards stocks. If the stock market starts to not play so well, then investors try to move their money around to safer havens, and money can move towards the commodities and can move towards cash. And specifically, the US dollars is typically seen as, when a more safe haven type currency. Okay. All right. Well, look, if there's no more questions, I'm going to wrap it up, call it a day. And incidentally, the class that I do on the Monday, it goes out on Twitter as well. So probably it takes me about an hour to compress the video and prepare it and send it out. So it will be available in about an hour's time from when I finish up. Okay, let's wrap it up. Have a great trading week. Don't forget, let me remind you before I do wrap up, let's put the important stuff back on the screen. Give me 1 second. Let me go back. Okay, there you have it. These times, just please take note, they are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard. The big one is down here, which is non-farm payroll on Friday. Australia, big one is here tomorrow, 2:30. And GBP, big one, is here right there, Thursday, 9 p.m., the official rate decision. 3 very big pieces of news. Best of luck with everything. Have a great trading week. I'll talk to you all tomorrow on the daily call, or I'll see you next week on Monday. Have a great week, guys. Bye for now.